A woman may forget the sentences you spoke, but the feeling you left behind stays etched in her soul. It's not the flowers, not the fancy dinners, not the rehearsed lines she's heard 100 times. It's the moment you looked into her soul and made her feel like the only woman in the room. It's the way you said something so unexpected, so raw, that it left her breathless. You see, most men talk, but very few know how to speak to a woman's heart, and that is where the magic lies. There are compliments, then there are forbidden compliments, the ones that shake her world, not because they're wrong, but because society tells you they're too bold, too real, too powerful. But let me ask you this. If you had the power to make a woman stop scrolling, stop breathing for a moment and feel deeply seen, would you dare use it? Would you dare make her heart skip a beat? Not with a diamond, but with your words. Because tonight I'm about to reveal the top 3 compliments no one talks about, the ones that bypass her ears and land directly in her chest, the compliments that make her melt and remember you forever. 1. You make me feel safe. There's something unexplainably powerful about emotional safety. It's not loud, it doesn't scream from rooftops, it doesn't demand attention, but when it's there, it creates a bond that no chemistry, no attraction, no flirtation could ever replicate. It's the kind of connection that goes beneath the skin, sinks into your chest, and settles in the quiet spaces where love actually lives. When a man looks at a woman and says, "You make me feel safe," something inside her softens, something in her spirit exhales. Because in a world where women are constantly asked to be strong, to carry the weight of, to hold the space for everyone else, it is rare, so rare for her to be seen as a sanctuary. This compliment is not just rare, it's forbidden. Why? Because for so long men have been told that they have to be the protectors, the guards, the ones who never crack. And in that belief, they've been robbed of the chance to experience the realest love of all, the kind that happens when 2 people are emotionally naked with each other. No masks, no guards, just presence. You make me feel safe is not just a string of words, it's an offering. It says, when I'm with you, I don't have to fight to be heard. It says, you don't just listen, you understand. It says, with you, I don't feel judged, I feel held. Do you know what it means to a woman to hear that? To realize that the very thing she's often shamed for, her emotional depth, her ability to nurture, her intuition is exactly what makes you trust her with the most vulnerable parts of your soul? That's not attraction. That's reverence. She doesn't want to be a perfect body. She doesn't want to be the best cook or the one with the most flawless smile. What she really wants, what every woman with depth craves, is to be a soft place for the man she loves. To be the one you run to, not the one you perform for. When you say, "You make me feel safe," you are handing her your truth in its rawest form. You're giving her something more intimate than a kiss, more lasting than a gift. You are placing your trust in her heart and saying, "This is yours now." And that moment becomes unforgettable. The truth is, emotional safety is not about weakness. It's about realness. It's about being the kind of man who knows his worth and who values connection over control. When you tell her she makes you feel safe, you are showing strength, because it takes a strong man to be that honest. It takes a confident man to know that vulnerability isn't a threat to his masculinity. It's a bridge to real love. She will remember that, because while others may praise her beauty, admire her curves, or even be fascinated by her charm, you touched something no one else noticed. You acknowledged her power to soothe, to steady, to be a lighthouse in your storm. You let her know that her emotional presence doesn't go unnoticed, that her empathy, her softness, her care, they matter. They change you. And maybe that's what makes this compliment so rare, because we live in a world where emotional connection is often overlooked, dismissed as weakness. But every strong relationship is built on it. Not on appearances, not on surface-level excitement, but on the deep knowing that when life shakes you, there is someone who will hold you steady, someone who won't laugh at your tears or shame you for being overwhelmed, someone who won't ask you to perform but will see you, the real you, and choose you still. When you tell her, "You make me feel safe," you are giving her more than validation. You are giving her purpose. You're letting her know that her love has roots, that it's not just decorative, it's necessary, that her presence in your life isn't just welcome, it's transformational. You are not just complimenting her, you are thanking her for showing up as she is, and letting her know that who she is exactly what you need. And that, my friend, is the kind of compliment that leaves her thinking about you long after the conversation ends. It's the kind of truth that echoes in her heart. It's the reason she'll reread your texts. It's why she'll replay your voice in her head while she's brushing her hair or walking through a store or staring out the window. Because you didn't just tell her she was hot or cute or smart, you told her she was home. You made her feel seen in a way that no mirror ever could. You see, every woman has a story, a journey, a path filled with moments where she was too much or not enough, too emotional, too sensitive, too soft. And over time, many learn to protect themselves, to smile even when they're breaking, to laugh off the things that sting, to build walls not because they want to, but because they've had to. And then one day a man shows up, a man who sees past the smile, who hears the silence behind the words, and who, in the quiet of a conversation, looks her in the eyes and says, "You make me feel safe." That moment breaks down walls no one else could touch. It tells her, "You're not just wanted, you're trusted." And when a woman is trusted, she blooms in ways she never has before. Her love expands, her tenderness deepens, her strength becomes something sacred. Because now she's not just loving from duty, she's loving from inspiration. She's no longer giving because she has to. She's giving because she feels invited. She begins to see her own power through your eyes, and that changes everything. Because the truth is, emotional safety is the foundation of intimacy. It's the secret ingredient to every lasting relationship. It's what turns touch into connection, sex into vulnerability, conversation into understanding. It's what makes a woman not just want to be near you, but want to give you the best of her. Not because you asked, but because you made her feel safe. Think about that the next time you're tempted to say, "You look beautiful." Think about it when you're about to compliment her outfit or her hair or her figure. Yes, those are sweet. Yes, they matter. But when you want to touch her soul, when you want her to feel something she's never felt before, look her in the eyes and say, "I don't know how to explain it, but around you, I can breathe. I can just be. You make me feel safe." That compliment, that's the one that stays. It stays when she lies in bed at night, wondering why your words felt so different. It stays when she scrolls through old messages, wondering how you knew what to say. It stays when she walks away from you in a crowded room, but keeps turning back to look as if trying to relive the moment you saw her, not for what she wears, but for who she is. And it's not manipulation. It's not a strategy. It's not some sneaky line to win her over. It's truth. Honest, bold, terrifying truth. Because if she really does make you feel safe, if she really does give you a peace no one else can, if she really is your calm in a chaotic world, then she deserves to know. She deserves to know that her love doesn't go unnoticed. She deserves to know that her care is not ordinary. She deserves to know that in a world full of loud voices and fake connections, she makes you feel like you're home. And once she hears that, once that truth sinks into her chest, she will never forget the man who said it. Not because you flattered her, but because you honored her, because you dared to say what most are too afraid to feel. You make me feel safe. 2. The way your mind works turns me on. There's something deeply intimate about being seen not just for how you look, but for how you think. In a world that constantly tells women their value is tied to their appearance, their body, their smile, their clothes, it's disarming when a man comes along and genuinely admires the one thing she wasn't taught to flaunt her mind. It stops her in her tracks, catches her off guard, and makes her wonder if she's finally found someone who sees beyond the surface. Because compliments on beauty, she's heard them before. But a compliment that celebrates her intellect now, that's rare, and rare is unforgettable. When you say to a woman, "The way your mind works turns me on," you're telling her that what ignites your desire isn't just what she wears, it's how she thinks. You're not chasing her body. You're captivated by the way she reasons, challenges, imagines, connects the dots, or weaves ideas together like threads in a tapestry only she could design. You're drawn to her curiosity, her wit, her depth. That's not just romantic, that's revolutionary. This kind of compliment is powerful because it touches a place inside her that the world rarely acknowledges. Society often celebrates women for being beautiful, accommodating, nurturing, polite, but seldom for being sharp, for being strategic, for being brilliant, for questioning things, for seeing the world through a different lens. And many women, whether they admit it or not, carry silent insecurities about whether they are truly valued for their intelligence, whether a man is genuinely interested in what they think, or just how they make him feel. But the moment you affirm her intellect, everything changes. You're telling her, "I see what no one else has taken the time to notice. I hear the way you construct thoughts, the way you challenge ideas, the way you listen before you speak. And That is what stirs something in me. You're not just turned on by her looks, you're lit up by her presence in a conversation. You're pulled in by the way she frames an argument, or the light in her eyes when she's passionate about something others might miss. That kind of compliment penetrates deeper than anything physical ever could. It says, I respect your mind and that makes me want you. And for a woman that hits different. It creates emotional intimacy. It opens the door to real connection. Because when a man is genuinely intrigued by the way she thinks, she no longer feels like an ornament. She feels like an equal. She feels like she matters in a way that outlasts time and appearance. Think about it. How often do women hear the words, "You're sexy," or "You look stunning"? And while those compliments might give a temporary high, they're fleeting. They don't anchor. They don't stick, because they don't require effort or observation. But when you say, "The way your mind works turns me on," you're communicating something else entirely. You're saying you've paid attention, you've listened closely, you've been moved not just by her presence, but by her perspective. And that's rare, that's unforgettable. It's also incredibly vulnerable for both of you. For her, because she suddenly realizes she doesn't have to dim her light to be desired. She doesn't have to hide her big ideas or filter her thoughts or worry about whether she's too much. She gets to be her whole self. She gets to be brilliant and wanted in the same breath. And for you, because you're choosing depth over pretense, you're saying, I'm not here for a show, I'm here for you. And here's the truth that so many miss. Women who are intelligent, truly intelligent, are often starving for this kind of validation, not because they're insecure, but because they're exhausted by surface-level conversations. They're tired of being told to tone it down. They're tired of dating experiences where their insight is dismissed, their curiosity is overlooked, and their ideas are met with indifference. They want more. They crave someone who can not only match their intellect, but admire it, who sees their brain as a beautiful, living, breathing force of attraction. When you compliment the way her mind works, you open a door that most men don't even know exists. You're showing her that you're not afraid of her complexity. You're not intimidated by her intelligence. You welcome it. You desire it. You want to explore it, understand it, be challenged by it. And that is the beginning of an emotional connection unlike anything she's felt before. Because here's the truth, attraction based on physical appearance fades, but attraction to someone's mind, that grows. It evolves, it deepens, it becomes richer with time. And when you're connected to a woman's mind, every conversation becomes a date. Every debate becomes foreplay. Every shared idea becomes a new layer of intimacy. There's a quiet kind of sensuality in mental stimulation. It's not always loud or obvious. It's in the subtle glances when she says something you didn't expect. It's in the pause before you respond, because you're genuinely intrigued by what she just said. It's in the way you follow up days later, referencing something she thought you forgot, but you didn't. Because when a woman's mind turns you on, you remember things. You value her insights. You respect her process. And that respect, that's what opens her up in ways you've never seen. That's what makes her want to share more, give more, be more, because she's finally with someone who doesn't just love the idea of her, but who honors the full reality of who she is. And she will never forget the man who made her feel that way. So when you say it, when you look her in the eye and say, "The way your mind works turns me on," don't say it casually. Say it like a confession. Say it like a truth you've been dying to say, but didn't know how. Say it like you mean it. Because when she hears those words, she won't just hear praise. She'll hear liberation. She'll hear that she doesn't have to hide the parts of herself that are curious, intellectual, rebellious, or deep. She'll hear that she can be powerful and loved at the same time. She'll hear that the thoughts she used to keep to herself are now the very thing that makes someone's heart race. And once she knows that, everything changes. You see, when a woman is desired for her mind, she blossoms. She starts to show you the hidden corners of her world. She starts to share the dreams she thought were too wild, the opinions she thought were too bold, the questions she thought were too strange. She trusts you with her truth because you've shown her that you're not just looking at her, you're listening. You're feeling her thoughts as much as her touch, and that makes her open in a way that beauty alone never could. There is nothing more intoxicating to a woman than being loved in her entirety, not just for her softness, not just for her beauty, but for her mind, for her thoughts, for her ideas, for her soul's voice. And when you're the man who brings that out of her, when you're the one who makes her feel like her intelligence is sexy, desirable, magnetic. You don't just win her attention, you win her loyalty, her admiration, her devotion, because you didn't settle for what was easy to see. You went deeper. You touched the untouchable. You made her feel like her intellect was worth more than her image, and she will remember that for a long, long time. So the next time you're sitting across from her, whether it's a coffee shop, a quiet living room, or a late-night phone call, pay attention. Watch the way her eyes light up when she's passionate. Notice the way she pauses before saying something risky. Listen to the rhythm of her thinking, and when the moment is right, tell her the truth. Say, "You know, the way your mind works, it's kind of driving me crazy." And mean it. 3. You make me feel safe in ways I didn't know I needed. There are words that land on the skin, and then there are words that land on the soul. This is one of those. You make me feel safe in ways I didn't know I needed. It's not flashy, it's not poetic, but it is profound. When spoken with honesty and intention, it disarms a woman's defenses and reaches right into the core of what most people miss. The idea that women, strong as they may be, don't just want to feel protected. They want to know that they can be someone's safe place too. This compliment is radical because it flips the script. For generations, society has told women that their primary value is in being soft, delicate, or in need of rescuing. But in truth, many women are deeply nurturing, intuitive, emotionally strong. They absorb the world's weight and still manage to show up for others, especially the people they care about. They carry silent strength. They listen between the lines. They know how to hold space for others. And yet, it's rare that someone ever pauses long enough to acknowledge the power in that kind of presence. So when a man looks a woman in the eyes and says, "You make me feel safe in ways I didn't know I needed," he's not just giving her a compliment. He's giving her a revelation. He's showing her that her ability to offer warmth, peace, stability, and quiet strength doesn't go unnoticed. In fact, it's deeply appreciated, even if no one ever had the words for it before. To feel safe is a basic human need, but emotional safety is a luxury most don't know how to name. In a world filled with pressure, performance, and masks, to be able to exhale around someone, that's rare. And when a woman hears that she creates that kind of space for someone, not just anyone, but a man who carries his own weight, his own struggles, his own pride, that's when she begins to truly understand her impact. Because let's face it, men are often raised to believe they must always be strong, stoic, and unfazed. Vulnerability isn't just avoided, it's actively discouraged. But what if the greatest strength a man could ever show is admitting when he feels safe enough to let go, to cry, to talk, to lean, to not have all the answers? And what if the person who made that space possible was her? When you tell her, "You make me feel safe in ways I didn't know I needed," you're honoring something sacred. You're saying, "In a world that demands I be on guard all the time, you are where I rest." You're saying, "I didn't even know how tense I was until you walked into my life and everything softened." You're saying, "There's a peace around you that makes me stop pretending." And for a woman, hearing that from a man doesn't just build connection. It builds trust. It opens her. It tells her that she's not just appreciated for what she gives, but for who she is. It tells her she doesn't have to constantly prove her worth by being extra accommodating, overly beautiful, or relentlessly self-sacrificing. She just has to be, and somehow that being is exactly what someone else has needed all along. This kind of compliment also rewrites the unspoken contract many women have with the world. The idea that their nurturing is expected but never acknowledged. That their emotional labor is a duty, not a gift. That being someone's comfort is just part of their nature, not something to be valued. But when you say, "You make me feel safe in ways I didn't know I needed," you're saying, "I don't take your presence for granted." You're saying, "You're not just someone I like, you're someone who anchors me." That word, anchor, it matters because in a fast-paced world full of scrolling and swiping and noise, to be someone's emotional anchor is everything. It means she's not just a pretty face or a good time, she's a home. And once you tell her that, her heart will never forget it. Think about the kind of woman who hears that compliment and pauses, not because she's shocked that she made someone feel safe, but because it's the first time anyone's ever told her. She might have spent years comforting others, listening to late-night confessions, wiping tears that weren't her own, holding space when others didn't know how. And maybe, just maybe, she thought no one noticed. Maybe she assumed that's just what she was supposed to do until you came along and saw her, until you noticed the way her voice softens at the right moment, the way she knows when to speak and when to stay quiet, the way she makes you feel like your mess isn't too much, the way she reads the unspoken in your silence and still chooses to stay close until you gave words to a feeling that had always lived just beneath the surface, that being around her made you feel like your soul could breathe. That compliment doesn't just feel good to hear, it feels holy. It creates sacred space between two people. It says, you're not just someone I want. I need your energy. I need your warmth. I didn't even know how much I craved this kind of emotional clarity until I felt it from you. And the truth is, most people don't even know how to recognize emotional safety until they finally experience it. They go through relationship after relationship wondering why they still feel alone, why they still feel on edge, why they can't fully relax. Then someone comes along, someone gentle, present, emotionally intelligent, and everything shifts suddenly. It's not about grand gestures or big speeches. It's about feeling deeply understood, accepted, valued. And when that someone is a woman, she becomes unforgettable. You make me feel safe in ways I didn't know I needed. Those words don't just describe comfort, they describe transformation. Because what you're really saying is, you've shown me parts of myself I didn't know were allowed to exist. Maybe the quiet parts, maybe the broken parts, maybe the parts that never felt worthy of love. And you're saying that she didn't run from those parts, she held them. Now imagine what it does to a woman's spirit when she hears that. It validates her softness. It celebrates her intuition. It affirms that her emotional awareness isn't just useful, it's desired. She realizes she doesn't have to become anyone else to be loved, that her quiet strength is seen, that her kindness is powerful, that her care is healing. And suddenly, she isn't just someone's partner, she's someone's peace. So when you're with a woman who makes you feel that way, tell her. Don't assume she knows. Don't assume she's heard it before, because chances are she's been everything to everyone, but no one's ever said those exact words to her. She's been the strong one, the calm one, the dependable one. And all she's wanted deep down is to know that someone felt the impact of who she is, and not just anyone. You. Your words might be the first ones that help her realize she's more than enough, that she's more than beautiful, that she's more than smart, that she's a safe haven, a lighthouse, a warm blanket on a cold night. And when you tell her that, she'll not only glow, she'll open, she'll lean in, she'll show you sides of herself. She's kept guarded because now she knows she's safe with you too. That's the kind of connection that doesn't come around often. That's the kind of emotional depth that leads to real love, and it starts with a single sentence. You make me feel safe in ways I didn't know I needed. When you tell a woman, you make me feel safe in ways I didn't know I needed, you're not just giving a compliment, you're revealing a truth that most never dare to speak. You're honoring her emotional depth, her presence, her power to heal without even trying. And in that moment, she doesn't just feel seen, she feels cherished. That's where real connection begins. That's where love takes root.